And you are live.
Okay, it is the January 9th, 2025 meeting of the Prospect Forestation Board, and it's now called to order. And our first order of business will be the review of the December 12th meeting. You should all have gotten a copy. It wasn't a very lengthy meeting, but you know, there were things we did discuss, so that needs to be reviewed and commented on.
Well, if we can vote on it, if it's official, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay,
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, good deal. We can move forward. Mr. Mayor, what would you like to share with us today?
Well, I'll talk about the things that have been highest on my mind, and that is first the snow and the snow removal. And I will report that the first 48 hours, I don't think Greenscapes left the city. I think they worked around the clock for 2 straight days.
Wow.
And they if they've been back since. They were back yesterday doing some cleanup work here and there. So I just want to express my appreciation to Corey, Rudolph, and to Greenscapes. I think they did a phenomenal job. And we went to dinner last night. We picked up a friend who lives in the Indian Hills, and their roads were a mess. So, you know, as good as we've got it, we're way ahead of an awful lot of folks, way ahead. And in my view, should count our blessings. The second piece that's related to that was Rumpke's determination that it would not be safe to provide service on Monday or Tuesday. I don't know if they're providing service today or tomorrow. They wouldn't, obviously not here, but they serve a lot of communities. And I don't know if they're providing service or not. My guess is they may not be. Mm-hmm. You know, the schools are still not in session. There was some people who believed that, who were very disappointed and expressed that disappointment about Rumpke's decision. And I will say, from my perspective, that I've got great respect for Rumpke and their professionalism, and I know that their goal is the safety of their employees. And the employees were, I was told by one of my main contacts at Rumpke that the employees were eager to get back to work, and that they were overruled by the supervisors who reached the decision after driving around on the routes that it wasn't safe to return. And what I've concluded, and Linda, you and I may have talked about this earlier, but what I've concluded is the vehicles could manage the roads pretty well. And the problem is not the vehicles. And from my perspective, I'm not the expert, but the problem is that workers getting off the truck mm-hmm. to right. pick things up and slipping on ice and walking up driveways or down driveways. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of risk. And so for people who are second guessing Rumpke on that, or somehow second guessing the city, I just respectfully disagree with that. And I'm very supportive of Rumpke generally, and in this case, notwithstanding how frustrating it is to not have your trash picked up and your yard waste picked up. But I think on both fronts we've managed the tough situation very well. We're very fortunate. The other thing I've said to somebody who was complaining about it is, I said, you know, these are first world problems. This is not life or death. This is not illness. This is truly a first world problem. And and I said, I think we're just so fortunate to live in Prospect, and I feel that way even more so having gone through the past 6-7 days, whatever it's been. So we've got more coming tomorrow. So we may be back at this again. One thing we'll do, Ron, we'll probably want to send out, depending on the forecast, send out an email, encourage people to not park on the streets this evening. That was one problem we ran into, was some people park on the street normally, but there are other people who parked on the street so they could be sure to get out. You know, they were worried they couldn't get out of their driveway or get to work. So I get that, but it creates problems, makes it more difficult for Greenscapes to do their job. And there are cul-de-sacs that don't get cleared as well as they should have been, and that sort of thing. But apart from that, we're moving forward on a lot of good things. And certainly congratulations to the Forestation Board on the Tree City designation again. That was a great step, great accomplishment. So that, I really don't have anything else. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be glad to respond. But otherwise, I feel like the city's in good shape and we're doing well.
I would agree. And, you know, what we've been through the past few days, I think our providers have done an excellent job. I think I had forwarded it, an email that I got from one of my HOA residents complimenting Greenscapes on the good job they did. And of course, and we have a provider that helps our little townhouse community that also has been very helpful getting us through this. And hopefully tomorrow isn't too bad and we can one of these days thaw out. So going on, Andrea, what would you like to share with us today?
Well, I'd just like to add my congratulations for number 17, Tree City USA. That's quite an accomplishment. So you all are really doing a good job. And really the only other thing is just to kind of count our blessings that the storm, we didn't get more ice than we did with this recent storm. Not only does that make things travel impossible and cleanup impossible, but it also you know, saves a lot of trees from breaking down and having issues with trees more so than we sometimes do. You know, if we would have had a half an inch or more of ice, we would have had a repeat of, could have had a bad repeat of like 2009 for some of you that remember that ice storm. So hope, and the good news tomorrow, the only good news I can think of is there's no ice with this storm. So we'll just have, you know, we have straight snow, but hopefully, you know, if you get questions from residents or anything, I'm sure you all know it's, if you have heavy snow loads, particularly on evergreens, magnolias and hollies and pines and things, it's best to let Mother Nature melt that off on its own rather than trying to brush it off or while it's still frozen, because that can cause additional damage.
Right.
So, I think that's really all I have at this point, other than comments regarding, you know, as you go through your agenda today.
Okay, sounds good. Going forward, now that we have our functional and ordinance in place again, and we can take some steps to execute some of the ordinance issues, I met with the mayor and Mike on December 20th to kind of look at, you know, the shopping list we put together back in the late fall of cases that had been submitted and things that needed to be finalized to verify what actions were needed. So I think Mike is ready to move forward. I'm going to resubmit all those cases so he has something to work with, but I told him I wouldn't do it to him because his birthday is Christmas and I thought he should get to enjoy the holiday. So I've got all those files that I will be emailing to him so he can start with that list, and they're organized by subdivision. So that should make it fairly easy for him to review the various trees that need to be looked at. And of course, we are kind of limited right now because all the leaves are gone and it's kind of really hard to truly evaluate some of these issues at this time, but at least the process is beginning. And I think we can all look forward to his getting more involved and some results from some of these hazardous trees being addressed and actions taken. So I felt pretty good about that. So going on to the canopy tree, we will have a list at some point, but I was thinking, oh, there's Sylvia, you made it. Good for you.
I
How are you
did.
doing?
Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
No jet lag. Very good.
I'm jet lagged. I'm very tired. I'm here.
But you made it. We're glad to see you. How was the flight and the travel?
Tiring. There were a lot of cancellations and stuff. So was
Mhm.
tiring, but we made it home safe just before midnight. So
Good for you. Okay.
thank
Glad you could join us.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, on the canopy tree, we had some challenges with the execution that I think might be helpful to address once we have our new contracts, that we're sure that when they turn in a contract, that they make a copy of the contract so they can remember what they did, because I get a lot of questions on that, to make sure they get a flag when they turn in the contract. And I thought maybe it would be useful to have a new tree guide, that they understand that, what happens in the first 2 years after planting is very important. And there are things that, this tree's not going to take care of itself. You need to help it along. So that when that time comes, I thought that might be a suggestion for us to consider developing. And that kind of leads me into how can we help more of our HOAs to make sure that our community knows more about tree responsibilities. There was a lady from Innisbrook that contacted the city and asked for a meeting because one of the neighbors had contacted me and wanted the city to come out and trim all his street trees. And I had to explain to him that, they were on private property and that those were his responsibility, and that, maybe his neighbors had somebody they could recommend, or if there was a source for the common areas of that subdivision, that perhaps that provider could work with him on getting the work done. And so I think there was some confusion. So Lynn Dowling came in and we had a very pleasant meeting, and I think she had a much better understanding when she left. And we offered if they have an HOA meeting, that maybe somebody from Forestation could come and kind of explain the basics and answer questions. And she kind of liked that idea. And I guess recently she presented it to the board. And so I think they have an annual meeting that is in February. And so she invited me to come, and I will be out of town. So Lee has offered to attend that and give some basic information about our ordinance and tree care. And Andrea came up with some really nice ideas on information that could be used at this meeting. But to print it all out kind of was maybe not a good idea. It's a lot of paper, a lot of trees, and it's some cost that isn't realistic. But how could we use that in a more general way? And I think we could do a newsletter article for, wintertime reading, taking care of your trees, and provide the addresses of those various publications to make it available to the wider community. And we did the article on the Bradford pears. I don't know if that got through to anybody. I've not heard anything. I don't know if the city's heard anything, but at least we're trying to create some awareness and provide resources to the community. So does that seem like a good idea to folks?
Mhm. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I think it sounds terrific.
Be great.
okay, so we can work with the International Arboriculture contact list of articles that Andrea provided and get those into an article. And whenever, Ron, you're ready to do another newsletter, just let me know.
I wanted to add that the brochure that ISA has created and was forwarded by Andrea to me contains an amazing amount of really useful information, probably more than most homeowners can deal with. But I'm going to extract some of the key points and discuss them with the Innisbrook people. That
Yeah,
meeting, I think, is scheduled for February 12th.
Right.
Comment about that?
Sure.
Okay, because I am a resident of Innisbrook, and I was really pleased to hear that someone's going to come and talk to you. And it is our annual meeting, so hopefully we'll have a good number of people there. One thing that I think Lynn Dowling should be aware of this, but maybe other people weren't, is that several years ago, the HOA decided to pay for trimming all the street trees. And what prompted that was I was the treasurer and I got the mail at that point in time. And we got a letter from the postmaster of Prospect saying that they were going to stop delivering mail because the trees that were not trimmed high enough for their trucks to have clearance, and they were damaging the mail delivery trucks. So that's just, kind of neither here nor there, but it might be a suggestion that HOAs consider trimming the street trees. And we were able to get a very good price because they did the whole subdivision at the same time. And people also got the opportunity to have other work done while the company was out there trimming the street trees. So
I
that's
think
just something that could be suggested.
I think that is a good suggestion, and that can certainly apply to other areas of Prospect too, that have street trees, like Bridgepoint could be one, and there's others, so that'd be a good
I
point to
agree.
include.
We did that in my community. It was probably 15 years ago, but we have owners who will or won't bother to respond when there's a need, and this, got us out of trouble and in compliance with the ordinance. So that could be something to bring up to the HOAs at some point.
Along those lines, in that ISA booklet, they recommend that no homeowner try to prune or trim a tree at a height greater than one could reach while standing on the ground with
Mhm.
2
Yep.
feet. And
Yep.
so the ordinance requires clearance for the vehicles around 13 feet. So very few of us can reach 13 feet high.
No, can't get there.
I don't know. I've got an 18-foot pole pruner. Anybody can borrow it.
I'll send that ISA publication out to the rest of the board. I was just contacted by Leah and Linda on it, but I'll send it to the rest of you too, because you might find it has really good information on a lot of tree maintenance and planting, and just a lot of best practices really relating to trees. And I had no idea, Lee, when I sent it to you, what you really were exactly what you needed or wanted. That was just, I thought, encompassed a lot of different, a lot of information that you could, share,
Well,
depending on what you want to talk about.
I'm not going to be talking for 2 hours. It's probably more like 15 minutes, but
Right,
the booklet I thought was really useful.
good.
Yeah, I agree. It was very good information, and a condensed version probably would be more than most of those people know. If we can
That's
get them
right.
started on the right path to taking care of trees.
Right.
Okay, well, I think that's a move forward we can take advantage of, and I'm pleased to hear that. I would also remind everybody that the Parks and Recreation meeting will be this coming Monday at 5 o'clock in the library. And sometimes Lee and I are able to attend, and I think any of us that are available and want to attend, it's usually very interesting to hear what they're working on and see ways that we can collaborate. So I think that would probably be just one, be sure everybody was aware of that. And then I don't have any other issues other than to say our next meeting will be February 13th, and we'll probably again use the WebEx format and go from there. Does anybody have any other issues?
Yeah, it's not necessarily an issue, but the 2 new members, the absence of the 2 new members. And I think I know Stephen, but the other gentleman, I know he came to the Arbor Fest, but I don't think he's ever been to a Forestation meeting.
He's done one online, and before the last meeting, he did send me an email asking if it was going to be, WebEx access as well as the in person, and I told him yes. So I was a little surprised when he did not join us electronically. And as we know, the last meeting at City Hall, Stephen was there. So I will probably send a note to both of them that we look forward to, seeing more of them and go from there.
Yeah, I'm sorry they weren't able to come this time. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Let me suggest.
Speaking of the,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lee.
no, it was me. Speaking of the
I had a little update and a question. I'm working on getting the quote for the plaque for the Mike Powers tree, and it'll be around $70. I have the wording that Wanda Powers wanted on the tree. But my question relates to whom should they send the bill, or who should submit the formal order? I can't buy the tree or anything else, the plaque for the city. A city employee has to make that purchase. Would it be Ron? Would it be John Carter? That's my question.
Ron, what's the answer?
I think John's been buying them.
Why don't you send it to-
Actually, it's been. I think you guys have ordered it and we paid for it. But,
Well, I
we
can
can work-
certainly order it at.
We
Why don't you
can
order
send the
it?
bill to John?
Order
No
it.
problem.
We can
yes,
work that
order
out.
it, send the bill to John, but copy me on it also.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
make a suggestion. When we started out, we had a question about, do we have a quorum or not? And we decided that we did, but it may be prudent now that Sylvia's here to approve the minutes again. So if somebody will make that motion and second it, and we can vote again, and then there'll be no question about the propriety of the meeting.
This might sound like an echo, but I make a motion that the minutes be approved as submitted.
And
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye.
Uh-huh.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Now they're
And-
officially
and-
approved.
Linda, I've got one more.
I think
thing.
Ron has something too.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
waiting.
Ron, you go ahead.
I'm waiting. No, go ahead. I'm waiting.
All right. Well, what I was going to say is that we're going to be awarding the Beach Craig Mile Award to an outstanding member of the community who contributes. And that we'll be doing that at the January meeting. The January meeting is on Tuesday the day after Martin Luther King Day, because Monday is a holiday, federal holiday. Well, and a city holiday for that matter. And the recipient of the Beach Craig Mile Award is Herb Schulhafer.
Oh,
Congratulations.
hey, good
That's
job.
fantastic.
He certainly deserves it.
I agree. Good
Well,
for you, Herb. Thank
Awesome.
you.
it's, thank
Lee
you.
and Lee and Linda, if you all are able to be there, I appreciate you all making a few comments.
Okay.
Yes, I can probably do that too.
And Herb probably got something to say in his own defense after.
I'm not sure he needs that. He's pretty competent at,
Well, I do have something to say. Ron's got something, but this new apparel I got on, somebody might think I look like a monk from Gethsemane, but if I stand up, you can see.
Uh-huh. That's to the story.
I'm just promoting my son's tavern.
A shameless
go.
plug.
Yeah.
Well, we're no longer talking about meetings, but going back to meetings, for the immediate future, we cannot do hybrid meetings. They'll either have to be all WebEx or all in person. We can still film and broadcast in-person meetings. Just can't do the hybrid because we've got some technical issues that we can't figure out. So.
Okay, well, my recommendation would be that we stay with the WebEx at this time. Our attempt at doing both didn't really draw much attendance from the community when we got together. And as much as it was enjoyable to be in City Hall and be able to see people and say hello and chat a bit, it didn't present the results we had hoped for. So it'll be WebEx, and we know there are situations for Sylvia and for Andrea that just make it impractical to not have that option available.
I agree, totally.
That'd be great.
Okay, sounds good. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? We are
Aye.
adjourned.
Uh,
Aye.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I call you about Farnsey Kaufman?
You can.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right,
Okay.
thank you
All
all.
right.
Good to
Bye,
see
everyone.
everybody.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.